Reginald here. Well, good evening. So I want to cut to the chase at the beginning of the video for you. So this is a video about whether or not you should buy Helldivers 2. I know a lot of people already have. That market's fairly saturated. That's fine. This is going to be a short video. The answer is yes, but I want you to go in eyes open as to what you're getting, because I have a lot of high hopes for this game, but it's not fully baked yet. There are still some little problems here and there, and some things that I find less than ideal. So I've played about 40 hours of Helldivers so far, and I have to say, this game is super fun. But I also have to say that this game is a bit undercooked. And what do I mean by that? Undercooked. Well, I am not talking about bugs, nor am I talking about the server performance at the start of the release. I am aware of the issues they had with their servers on release, and they've largely resolved those. I can pretty much get a game anytime I want, and the bugs that they do have are generally not too game-breaking and not too big of a deal. Yes, they happen, but it's fine. What I am actually talking about is the diversity of equipment in the game. There are plenty of weapons to get and unlock throughout the circuit of the game, and there are plenty of stratagems for different weapons. Like, it's got enough weapons, so I'm not really talking even about the number of different types of weapons, though there is a certain same equality to guns being guns. There are some interesting ones in here, like some of the machine guns are really fun and different, especially with the adjustable rates of fire. There's laser guns, there's shock lightning guns, there's a gyrojet gun that's totally not a bolter, I swear. It's all there, right? We're having a grand time with these weapons, or we would be if any of them were any good. The problem we've discovered, I think the community for this game as a whole has discovered pretty rapidly, is, as it turns out, most of the guns in the game are bad, at least at the upper levels. If you're playing 7, 8s, and 9s, where I'm playing in the 9s range, you're going to find out that most of the guns don't do very well, and if you don't bring the right kind of kit, you're basically going to get stomped. There are certain enemies that just hard gate certain kinds of weapons, and that makes those weapons pretty hard to justify bringing along unless you're just looking to spice things up. And I'm all for fun maxing. Soon enough, I intend to put out a few builds on some of those fun maxed assessments. But the point here is that there's really like one good combo and everything else is kind of just meh right now. The Dominator is not bad, but for the most part, you're going to be wanting to use the breaker, the default breaker, because it turns out the incendiary breaker isn't all that good at all. And then you're going to want to use the railgun, and you'll pick up the submachine pistol, and then you're going to use a personal shield as one of your stratagems. And then you'll want like the 500 kilogram bomb, and then something else that's explosive from space, and kind of like play around with whatever you want after that. Honestly, that's like the most powerful meta build, and it's right there. And it's simple to state too, because there's no weapon customization or anything as of now, though we are told that is going to happen. So when I'm talking about undercooked, what I'm really talking about is at the high level of gameplay, when you're kind of in the end game state, there's really only one good thing to do, and then everything else after that is suboptimal. Not necessarily bad. The autocannon, for example, is suboptimal, but has some upsides over the railgun, and is a lot of fun to use in my opinion. It's probably one of my favorite weapons in the game. And I don't even think it needs to be rebalanced because it's fairly strong by itself. It's just less good than the railgun. It requires a backpad slot. What I'm really trying to get at here is that the sort of the meta game of what you can take and the level of customization for what you can take, the level of differentiation between different playstyles that you have is extremely limited right now. And as a consequence, each mission starts to feel pretty samey pretty quickly, right? You're kind of just doing the same thing over and over again. And it's fun, unlike, say, Darktide, where you can get a weapon and customize that weapon's blessing pool, although that system for doing so is bad. If you've played a lot like I have, you can kind of build whatever weapon you want, and as a consequence, you have the opportunity to sort of like play very different feeling weapons effectively because the balance is so good. In this game, the balance is not nearly there. Most of the weapons are either bad or unusable, or just okay, and then there's like one good solid kit that you can run. In time, I'm certain that'll change. That's the thing. And that's why I wanted to say, yeah, you can definitely go buy this game, because the framework that is there for this game is very solid. There's a lot of diversity in mission types, map types, enemies are very different from one another and have very different gameplay experiences. There's room for more enemies to be added. We know they're going to be adding new content to the game probably pretty soon. And so, if you pick this up now and get the ropes figured out, you'll get 40 to 60 hours of fun for sure before you start to maybe feel like you want to go do something else. And that's more than enough for your money. And then after that, there'll be new content patches that you can enjoy. And I think that's great. Like, the game is going to be a lot of fun, but for sure, the game has a lot less depth than something like Darktide does. And so So I'm going to give kudos to Fat Shark here on making Darktide have a lot of depth to explore and a lot of capacity for a really high skill ceiling, whereas this game is a little bit more arcadey. That's not a bad thing at all. It's super fun to play with your friends. I enjoy all the friendly fire and goofballery that takes place. It's tons of fun, and there are different challenges, but there are mechanics that you can't use yet. Like, for example, there's a stealth mechanic in the game that's sort of there. It allows you to avoid detection and sneak around, but it's pretty easy to trigger the enemies to come attack you when you start shooting a gun that's super loud. It's just one of the things that's not ready yet. We know they're going to eventually add suppressors and subsonic ammunition, so that'll be really fun when it shows up. I'm looking forward to playing that way. My point again is the game is undercooked. And it's obviously undercooked because the balance is bad and the weapon diversity is there, but it's largely unusable because of that. And so the real weapon diversity, the real different playstyle opportunities are very low. That'll go away eventually. And when it does, I think we're all going to be having a lot more fun. We're already having a lot of fun. So I think that's sufficient here. I kind of just wanted to say like that before I jump into like doing reviews and of different weapon combos and stuff like that. It's like, hey, look, if you're going to pick up this game, it's a little simple right now, but it's going to get better. I'm confident about that. And it works right now. So it's worth your money. I'm already having a fun time. I'm already more than 40 hours in. So there you go. With that, I'll just say I made a fun little music video, but I didn't want to stick to the intro because it was too long for a 6-minute video. So have a good day, everybody, and have some fun on the way out the door. Bye.
Our